Hey, welcome. This is Dr. Paul Dyer. This is Bridges Live, and I like to talk to all my guests and my sponsors. And thank you for my sponsors, because without you, I was unable. I could do a lot of things. And of course, you can always go to Bridges Live and contact me on drpaulholisticscience.com or reach me at drpaulwdyer@gmail. And also go to my YouTube channel, and you can also sponsor, donate, and just let me know what you think about the shows that we're doing, because Bridges Live is about information, understanding, and an action. And I have Mr. R. Wesley Webb on the line, and another one of my great guests. I'd like to thank all my guests for coming on the show and giving us their passion and their heart and their purpose. Mr. Wesley, thank you for coming on Bridges Live with Dr. Paul.
Thank you very much.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, because for me, like most people know who listen to the show, I don't do well with introductions, and I think people speak better about themselves. I know it's a humbling thing, but let us know what you are, what you do, so we can get right into the show.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, right now I'm the president of the 100 Black Men of Maryland. That is one of my passions that I follow. It's just one of these things where it's a volunteer role, but it allows me to go ahead and do work within the community to help out young Black men and continue to operate off of the platform after the national office, which is based there in Atlanta. By trade, I'm a management program analyst working for a government agency under Homeland Security. And so it allows me the opportunity, to go ahead and do such things like I'm doing right now as far as with the 100. I'm a veteran as well. I spent 5.5 years in the Army and stayed over in Germany for roughly 15 years. And
what part of Germany?
I was in Landstuhl.
I was in Bad Kreuznach.
I know it very well.
Me too. I know where you were very well too.
Yeah. So I figured after Operation Desert Storm, I would go ahead and get out of the Army, which I spent 5.5 years in, and I just chose to go ahead and stay over there and go to school and travel around. But during that time frame, I just recognized I could be doing so much more. So after my time of being over there in Germany, and getting my career started, I decided to come to D.C. because that's where they asked me, where do you want to go? I said, send me to D.C. because I wasn't married or anything, and so I just said, okay. And then I started looking to work with various organizations right then and there just to kind of get connected. And 100 Black Men was just one of those organizations that really stood out to me, personally, and what they were doing in the community and what they were doing with the young men, and also sometimes the women as well.
Yes.
And so that was just like the springboard. And so they have an excellent platform. The brand is very strong, a lot of corporate interest, and so it gives us an opportunity for those who are in the positions of such as, we're working in roles of, being in professional roles, not so much of blue collar. There's nothing wrong with blue collar, but, a lot of these guys were dealing with white collar professionals,
mm-hmm.
and they're looking to sit here and work with the young boys to give them a leg up. Because in some aspects, what I had been seeing, the number of young Black men going off to college, was decreasing.
Yes.
And so that really had concerned me. And of course, young Black women, they're going to be looking and say, hey, where are the Black men here on campus? There's not a lot of them.
No.
So it's just like, okay, we got to do something to help these guys out, to turn them around. And figure out, essentially, what was happening. So that was my main draw for the 100. And, now that I'm in the position of the president, I've been looking to push forward a number of initiatives that would help to pointed in that direction.
Before we get going, ich sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Ambition.
Ambition is sprechen Sie Großdeutsch? Ambition verstehen. So.
It means a little.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah. So let's get to, and thank you for, again, coming on Bridges Live with Dr. Paul. And again, people can listen to the podcast on iHeart and iTunes Radio. And you can also catch it on all the other podcast shows on Spreaker. And you can go to my YouTube channel. But Mr. Wesley, when we talk about our young black men, before we get to the men part, we are missing so much of them. It's like some are casting the net out with our hands. And when you have an organization like the 100 Black Men, when we bring our hands together, we catch more young boys. Is that what the 100 Black Men, and that's their initiative?
Yes, it is. And one of the things is, which is the beautiful thing about the 100, Black Men, as far as from a national perspective, we're all independent,
yes,
501c3s, but we operate off of the national platform, and we get together 3 times a year, all the presidents of these chapters. Matter of fact, I'll be going to a conference in December where we'll be, talking with the national chair and these type of things. And with that being said, this is where I was talking about with the corporate backing. It's allowing us to go ahead and draw corporate money to go ahead and develop programs that we know that we will be able to go ahead and get our young men geared towards going to college, these type of things.
Which one of so being in Maryland, and I know it's national, so how many chapters are there in the United States so far?
There's 98 right now.
Excellent.
At one time there was 101, but the thing is, where the national chapter has a little bit of oversight here. When we have some chapters who are not in compliance, then we have to go ahead and remove their charters until they get things straight. Now
being a fraternity person myself, we have all these fraternities, black fraternities, national organizations. Are we pulling at the same wheel, or should we be coming together? How do you feel about that?
Well, the thing is, I think we should be pulling at, coming together on those type of initiatives.
Right.
But the one thing is, as we will tell, because we're in the 100, we have fraternity members that are a part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we just let them know, we understand you're a part of this fraternity, but this is going to be the 100 because we don't want to have any division.
Correct.
This type of thing.
We're done with divisions.
Right.
That's what's killing us.
We're just coming together as black men.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
and so we're not going to say we're part of this fraternity, that, and so on, this type of thing, because we have one focus, is just getting those young black men, ready, to go on to that next step. It's our way of giving back, because like our motto is,
right.
What you see is what they see is what they'll be, that type of thing. And so if they see us, carrying ourselves in a way that, that is going to garner a very positive outlook, they're going to look to do the same thing.
And I've had a motto that was taught to me so many years ago. It's called each one teach one.
Yep, exactly.
So let's go with you say you have a couple of initiatives you want to go forth. Before you do that, have there been backlash about being 100 black men? Because there is no hiding the fact of what we are or what this is. Has there been some type of misunderstanding of what the connotation is from non-black men? I would say white America is the best way I could.
No, because the thing is, even though we call ourselves the 100 black men,
mm-hmm.
we're not discriminating. We're not turning away, anyone else.
Okay.
If they come we go ahead and allow them to come into the program. That's the one thing. We don't want to discriminate, but the thing is, when it started in 1963 in New York, and you had these black politicians and you had black businessmen, and they all came together, and they formulated, when they came across this name, the 100, and 100 black men, they just chose not to change it. So you're going to see sometimes in these chapters where you will have maybe non-black young men in it. I'll just put it like that. And so, but the thing is, we just don't discriminate. That's just one of our things we do not do, even though we're called the 100 black men, and we always, will let them know, right up front, because we've come across some guys who, some white guys, I'll just put it like this, who are married to black women who would like to be a part of the organization.
Right.
And we say, sure, no problem, please, by all means, you can be a part of it. That's not a problem, And so they come on in.
So what is some of the initiatives that's on the plate what is some of the things you're working on now? Because as in Maryland, as Baltimore, and again, when I talk about Baltimore in these last weeks, when Elijah Cummings passing away, we know that Baltimore is, there's a lot of deaths happening in this area. In Baltimore. I mean, more than it's getting reported even in the news. If you don't know the community, there's people being killed a lot, and a lot of issues going on. So what are some of these initiatives that you're looking at right now?
Well, the first one is the Saturday Leadership Academy, and Saturday Leadership Academy is, sure, we focus on scholastics, but more or less we focus. It's an opportunity to get the young men in the room.
I'm there.
And this is where they can sit and talk with one another in a safe space, and it's positive. And, they might be going through something. One other guy might know how to go about to cope with it a little bit. Hey, I've been through this before. This is the way I handled it. Just kind of give them some pointers on how to go about doing it. And just more or less talk about what's going around in the community.
Right.
And then it gives us an opportunity to kind of suss out, okay, what direction do we need to go with these young men? Because like I said, it's not always about the scholastics, because we're there for that. But also some of these young men are coming in with some real issues that they need to go ahead and just talk through. Because they can't be carrying around in them, because it makes them so angry.
Yes,
in this aspect, and the fact of the matter, a lot of them are coming from single parent households, and of course talking with the mother or the father, they're kind of stressed out in their own aspect, because one, they got to go to work and they got to do these other things, and they recognize that they may need help. And so here we have these, we have these Saturday Leadership Academies, and the young boys come in and they can sit there and they can talk about how things are going, at school as well. And then we'll just take it from that point. It's just more or less meeting them, where they're at. And we make it a point to go ahead and have them provide us with a copy of their grade cards for each reading period, because we want to see how they're doing,
right.
In this aspect. And so if they are having some problems, we'll look to go ahead and get them the help that they need.
What are the age groups can they into this?
A lot of the times we will start as early as 4th grade, going through 12. And then we take it to the next level, which we call the collegiate 100. And we're on the campus of Morgan State right now, and I'm working on getting it chartered over at Compton State, and so hopefully we'll be able to do that before the end of 2020.
So the classes are also held on Saturdays at Morgan?
No. They're not held at Morgan. They're held at our headquarters. What I'm saying is, as far as that next level is It's called the Collegiate 100, and then we just go ahead and we just mentor them, more or less. So as far as make sure that they stay on the right track, because the ideal thing is to get them to the college campus.
Yes.
And get them focused on that career that that they didn't think more or less that they were going to have an opportunity to even be in the running for. Because we had one young man. This is a real success story. He came into to our Saturday leadership, and his mom just really thought this young man was a lost cause, and he started coming every session that he can come to, and my guys were working with him, and they got him into Compton State. And so he just got him completely turned around, because initially when he came in, he wasn't even thinking about college. There was nothing else that he wanted to do.
I was talking with one of my guests on the show about Compton, and around the area. If people don't know the area where Compton is, Compton, COPIN, Compton, there's a lot of broken homes. It's the best way I can put it, and it must feel punishing thinking that I'm in this broken situation of environment, whatever your home life is, but yet I see this higher university that I could probably never get into or never aspire to be in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a killing of spirit, and yet this is where you 100 men are talking about, and the organization is talking about, is that don't let this break your spirit, because we can help you with the tools and the path to get you where you are going, not where you could go, where we as men, and this is specifically as men, want to see you go, and we will hold your hand all the way through.
That's right. That's what we do. And we also make it a habit of adopting elementary schools, and we have like Black Men Read.
Yes.
We'll go in like once a week, and we'll go and read, to the students, because we know that starting them off early, getting them interested in reading, helps them to go ahead and do better later on in life and so on.
Now, there's a lot of schools that we know that elementary schools have a couple things. One, they don't have black male teachers. And two, they have predominantly white female teachers. So these young black boys from kindergarten probably to the 7th grade rarely see black men in education.
Yeah.
Is that something that we can break through as black men? Is it, because I kind of think it's conspiracy that these schools are not hiring black teachers for these schools.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if I can't speak to that so much, but I can speak to, what we are doing. We are actually going in the schools.
Yeah.
Because a couple of the administrators, as far as the adoptive schools that we are working with, they actually have, black principals there.
Okay, what have you guys come up with a principal that says, no, that's okay, and they're not black?
No.
Okay.
We haven't had that in that aspect. Matter of fact, the latest program I was working on, which I sealed the deal with this high school last week, is coming up with an alternative program to suspension.
Yes.
Because one of the things is too easy for our young black men to be suspended from school. And so as a result of that, we said, why don't we go ahead and have these young men become a part of the Saturday Leadership Academy, and then they don't have to go ahead and suspend it. Now, if they go ahead and do something else, well, we can't. But that would screen these young men for the ones that we think that could really be able to help. They were open to that.
You're breaking up a little bit, Mr. Wesley.
Sorry?
Yeah, you just started to break up a little bit about the last initiative about going into the schools. You want to repeat that a little bit?
Sure. I was saying, the last program that we've just, recently just got off the ground was an alternative suspension program.
Yeah.
where the young men would be able to come to Saturday Leadership Academy rather than be suspended from school, because I think it's just too easy for them to be suspended.
Yes.
And as a result of that, we would get to screen those boys that actually would come into the program, because we know that not everyone's going to be able to qualify, unfortunately. So we'll just have to, because the thing is, we have a very good niche of young boys that are within the program, and we don't want it to be disrupted. So we have to make sure that we're able to go in and we would screen that. But we needed to have an alternative to suspension, for these boys, and I'm sure their parents would be very happy that rather than having them come to a Saturday leadership and then
the suspension,
just sitting at home and possibly getting into trouble, and that's not what they want.
Well, because we know that boys who aren't mentored, we know this. We know the statistics about what will happen to them because they're heading towards the penitentiary.
Right.
Yeah. So we know that.
Right.
How can a mother get a hold of you to get the kids into the Saturday program?
Well, they can go to our website. There is information on there about the Saturday Leadership Academy, and there is an application as well. And the thing is, we will be posting on our calendar, for the public here to go, which will let them know which Saturdays the Saturday Leadership will be taking place. And our website is, if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and say it on the
Absolutely,
call
yes.
It's www, of course, 100blackmenofmaryland.org.
That's www.100blackmenofmaryland.org.
That's correct. Yeah. And so once they go on the website, they'll see on there for the Saturday Leadership, Academy. And we also have a program called Young Entrepreneurs, where we teach young men how to go about opening up their own businesses. And the instructor is actually a professor from Morgan State, and we don't have it going this quarter, but we will have it probably in the second quarter of this FY.
Does the 100 Black Men get into the political arena too about helping with the voting? Not so much who to vote for, but the reasons to help vote and why voting is.
Yes, we do stuff like that as well. We had some voting initiatives before that was going on, and we will still continue to do that because it's very important. But the thing is, we try to kind of stay neutral on those type of things. We don't, like you said, we don't advocate for any particular candidate.
No,
we talk to them just about we talk to them just about the importance of getting out there to vote. Because that's your right. You need to do it. Get out there, because because at one time we weren't able to do it, and so you have to just honor that in those people who fought for that right, for a right to vote. So you should do it. That's one reason why I'm always doing it, because one of the things is we do always talk to the young men about is their history, because they're not learning that history in school.
No,
these type of things, and so when they start hearing it from our members, because some of them actually lived it, and so they can talk about it, and so they can ask these questions to them, because the age range for the guys in the 100, they go from 30 to 80. And so
we need all our elders on deck. When we talk, we do. We
yes, sir. Sir.
We can only grow from the tallest weed to the shortest seed. So it doesn't matter what you are, you have something to offer. And I thoroughly believe once we clear our hearts and our minds, we put them together, our net gets stronger. Because right now, the few of us are missing the ones, and we get so frustrated with the ones we're missing. And that's why we need organizations like the 100 Black Men to collectively make our net stronger, to catch these young black boys and black women to build a stronger nation, a nation of community. Not a nation of separatism. That's different. We're not talking about separate. We're talking about community. We're talking about strong communities.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, I like to thank everyone for listening to Bridges Live with Dr. Paul, and I'm talking to Mr. R. Wesley Webb. He is the president of 100 Black Men of Maryland, and we are talking about building a community of strong young men to be strong men so we can have a productive civilization, a productive society of men, especially black men, because we're losing a lot of our black boys to a lot of situations, and we don't have to I've talked about it before, between the health initiative, between the crime, between the killing, and just poor educated or not educated. So we like to thank the 100 Black Men for doing all what they are doing, and then support you, and then knowing that there are options out there, and you're one of those options, and it's a blessing.
Thank you.
What would you like to leave us with before we take this moment and let you go, because there's more things for you to do, because we got to get to it?
Yes. Well, we have one event that's coming up in December, and that's going to be our holiday brunch, and it's another way for us to give back to the community, because all patrons bring a toy, and then then we can go ahead and have our toy distribution, to the kids in the community. And that's going to be on December 8th, and it's going to be at Martin's West in Baltimore, and it'll go from 11 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, we will keep you. We'll put that on the podcast website and things like that, so people can look onto that and make sure they can contact you. I'd like to thank you so much, Mr. R. Wesley Webb, for coming on Bridges Live with me.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm glad I had the opportunity to talk with you.
Thank you so much.